Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into a fascinating stack of sources, all from Nigeria Daily, News, Politics, and Global Ties, September 2nd, 2025. So our mission, as always, is to kind of cut through the noise. We want to pull out the most significant developments happening across Nigeria. We're talking diplomacy, local stuff, security, a big one, and the economy. Always looking for those links, those aha moments, so by the end, you'll feel genuinely clued in.
And it really is quite a rich mix this time. You've got national news headlines right alongside economic figures, some pretty sharp political commentary, and even a few historical tidbits thrown in. It's like a snapshot, really, of a complex nation that's constantly moving.
Okay, let's unpack this then, because yeah, there's clearly a lot going on. Maybe we can kick things off with Nigeria's place on the global stage and how that balances with the internal security pressures. First up, this figure the federal government is highlighting $600 million a month in diaspora remittances. Yeah, they're presenting it as proof their economic reforms are working. It's a huge amount of money flowing in. And it's not just money, right? Diplomatically, things seem active too. Nigeria and Colombia just signed an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, a historic one, they're calling it, to deepen political and economic ties. President Tinubu is apparently pushing for quick implementation, and there's even talk of replicating Brazil's air agreement model, but with Colombia this time.
Yeah, and what's really interesting there is how these moves kind of show a deliberate strategy.
Yeah.
A push for, wider global partnerships, diversifying the economy. Those remittances you mentioned, they're a direct boost, obviously.
Right.
Big impact on families, local spending. But this Colombia MOU, the air travel plan, those feel more like long-term strategic plays. Opening new trade routes, maybe investment, solidifying Nigeria's role perhaps in the global south. It's definitely an active engagement beyond the usual partners.
That engagement sounds positive. But then you look inwards and the security situation is still.
Well,
challenging is an understatement. How do these internal things, like, say, Boko Haram or these cult activities, affect those global ambitions?
that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
We see these really stark headlines. Boko Haram killing 8 people in Borno, just awful. But then, almost in the same breath, reports of soldiers freeing hostages up in Sokoto. So there are efforts, successes too.
Exactly. It's never just one thing.
And beyond that main conflict, there's this wide range of other security worries. An attack on, was it Malami's convoy in Kebbi? That shows vulnerability. Then the NDLEA destroying cannabis farms in Kogi, the drug fight.
Right.
And that really disturbing A-bomb cultists arrested with a human skull.
Precisely. And all these incidents, they seem separate maybe. Terrorism, drugs, cultism. But they paint this picture of a security apparatus fighting on, well, multiple fronts simultaneously. And to your earlier point, yes, these internal struggles absolutely can impact global ties. They drain resources, they affect investor confidence, sometimes raise stability questions. But conversely, sometimes international partnerships bring in help, expertise, resources to tackle these internal issues. So it's a complex interplay, really.
And the politics around security are intense right now, too. This back and forth involving Anase, El-Rufai, Rabadu, Ubasani. Anase apparently slammed El-Rufai over some ransom payment claim.
Yeah, that's a report.
And El-Rufai's response was pretty sharp. Eliminate insecurity, not voices of opposition. Then you have the Kaduna government warning El-Rufai about potentially inciting violence. It's very public.
It really puts the spotlight on that core debate, doesn't it? About security strategy. How do you deal with these groups? Negotiation, force. It's high stakes, clearly, and involves political accountability. We're just relaying what's being reported, of course, not taking sides, but you can see the deep disagreements on the best way forward. It raises that important question about the different approaches.
And just to add another layer, sadly, Oyetola blaming wooden boats for 92 deaths and accidents. Another dimension of safety, this time transport safety on the water. It points to broader issues.
Yeah. Basic safety standards.
Okay, let's maybe shift gears a bit towards the economy, infrastructure, and looking ahead, sort of the social future. Some really interesting stuff here, like Dangote's fuel exports surging. Especially with foreign refineries shutting down, that feels like a big deal.
Oh, it's huge. If we connect this to the bigger picture, think about it. Nigeria, a major oil producer, importing refined fuel for decades. A massive drain. Now, Dangote isn't just meeting local demand, apparently, but exporting. That's potentially transformative.
Right.
It means moving towards self-sufficiency, maybe becoming a regional energy supplier. It impacts the trade balance, maybe even Nigeria's influence. It's a powerful sign of industrial capability.
A really key development. And we're seeing positive signs at the state level, too, it seems. Kogi growing its monthly revenue by, what was it, N3 billion.
Yeah, significant jump.
And Jigawa getting attention for putting the largest chunk of its budget into education. That's a clear priority. Are these just isolated bright spots or part of something bigger?
Well, they definitely suggest states are getting more proactive. Kogi's revenue growth hints at better internal generation, maybe. Chigawa's focus on education, that's a classic long-term investment in people. So maybe not isolated, but indicators of states trying to, shape their own futures more actively. Good for decentralized growth, potentially.
Okay, and infrastructure. The transport minister promising to fix the Abuja-Kaduna rail tracks in just 10 days after that derailment. That seems fast.
Vicious, yeah.
And the House committee summoning the Railway Corporation shows their scrutiny, at least. What happens when a key line like that goes down? What are the ripple effects?
Oh, they're immediate and pretty significant. Economically, it disrupts everything. Goods, people, adds costs, causes delays. And for public trust, big questions about safety, maintenance, reliability. So the rush to fix it and the NRC being called in, that reflects both the economic need and the political pressure to act quickly.
Makes sense. Then in energy, you have Northeast governors working on a master plan for their region's energy deficit. That's critical for development there. And nationally, the FG, Total Energies, and Sepetro signing a $10 million PSC for offshore blocks. That's a big investment.
Right, a production sharing contract.
These are serious commitments. But what's the realistic timeline for seeing results, especially from offshore exploration, and what hurdles might pop up?
Yeah, offshore stuff, especially exploration, that usually takes years before you see significant production. The challenges are, well, numerous. You need huge capital, first off. Then navigating regulations, security concerns in some areas, and now adapting to the global shift towards renewables. But these deals signal a long-term bet on Nigeria's energy future, which is fundamental, really.
And looking even further ahead, some interesting initiatives. Minister Tijani calling for Africa to really embrace AI, specifically mentioned at GITEX, the big tech expo, saying the continent can't afford to fall behind.
Important message.
Alongside that, the government aims to empower 7 million young people with digital and professional skills. Massive scale. And a target of getting 44 million Nigerians health insurance by 2030. Focusing on welfare, too. That AI call is strong, but what are the real hurdles for Nigeria in actually using AI effectively?
Significant ones. Infrastructure gaps, definitely.
Yeah.
Not enough specialized talent yet. And, the whole ethical side, data privacy bias, job displacement fears. But these youth skills programs, they're absolutely vital. They're trying to build that foundation, the digital literacy needed for an AI world. It's about creating that talent pipeline. Yeah, it's a forward-looking approach, investing in people and tech.
This talk of major shifts, rebuilding challenges, it brings to mind a historical echo from this exact date, September 2nd. Back in 1666, the Great Fire of London started, destroyed huge swaths of the city.
Right, I remember reading about that.
Terrible event, obviously, but it also forced this massive rebuilding effort, new urban planning, basically shaping modern London. Maybe there's a lesson there, metaphorically, for a nation like Nigeria facing its own big challenges. That idea of transformation coming out of adversity, something to think about.
Yeah. Resilience and rebuilding.
Okay, let's dive into the legal side of things now. Political currents and just glimpses of everyday life. There's this significant international story. A Finnish court sentencing Simon Ekpa to 6 years. And Nigeria's attorney general says they'll pursue further actions against him over alleged terrorism links.
Yeah, that's a big development.
What does a ruling like that from Finland mean for dealing with individuals accused of affecting Nigeria but based abroad? Does it set a precedent?
I think it does. It really highlights that growing international cooperation on things like counterterrorism. It shows legal consequences can cross borders. It signals that, operating from overseas doesn't guarantee immunity. It definitely strengthens the AGF's position for any further legal steps. It's a clear sign.
And closer to home, other legal stories catching the eye. Mayula Doki suing for N1.5 billion over alleged cyberbullying and defamation puts the spotlight on online conduct for public figures.
Yeah, that's becoming more common, isn't it?
And then, much more seriously, an Adamawa man on trial for killing 3 people, including a minor. A stark reminder of crime challenges. Plus, The Chief Justice reassuring support for getting Nigeria off that FATF gray list, the financial watchdog list.
Right, the anti-money laundering
But
focus.
you've got cyberbullying, serious violent crime, financial regulation efforts. What does this mix tell us about the justice system right now?
Well, it shows the sheer breadth of what the legal system is grappling with. You have
Wow.
these newer challenges like online behavior alongside the persistent tragic issues of violent crime. The judiciary has to adapt constantly. And the CJN's focus on the FATF list. That shows a national push to tighten financial oversight, which is critical for Nigeria's global standing and economy. It shows the system actively working on multiple fronts, both old and new.
Okay, onto the political scene. Seems quite lively. INEC, the Electoral Commission, is already getting ready for the Anambra governor poll, opening media accreditation.
Preparations underway.
They also pushed back against claims by the ADC party about voter registration figures being manipulated in Lagos, reinforcing their stance on integrity. But there's clearly tension, too. Senator Marafa calling President Tinubu a use and dump leader and vowing to cut his 2027 vote count by 1 million. That's strong language.
Very strong.
And then Governor White criticizing Atiku and Obi over the river's local government polls, and even saying the PDP will die if Obi returns. How do these kinds of public clashes and predictions shape things leading up to future elections?
Oh, they're a huge part of the political landscape, aren't they? This is the democratic discourse, messy as it can be. These statements, they energize supporters, they frame narratives, they absolutely influence public perception and party dynamics. It reflects the high stakes and the constant maneuvering for advantage. As, 2027 isn't that far away in political terms. It shows the rivalries are intense and very much out in the open.
And weaving in everyday life and social issues, reports of residents in Niger State looting foodstuffs that were meant for distribution by a lawmaker. That suggests potential hardship or frustration.
Could be, yeah. Points to underlying issues.
And this figure, 36,000 Nigerians seeking asylum in Canada, Italy, and the UK. That's a significant number telling a story about migration. How do these snapshots, the looting, the asylum numbers, sit alongside the narratives of economic growth we were discussing earlier?
They provide crucial context, don't they? The looting, if it stems from hardship, highlights that economic gains might not be reaching everyone. The asylum figures point to challenges, maybe lack of opportunity, security fears that push people to leave, even amidst positive national developments. They're a reminder that the lived experience of ordinary people is complex and doesn't always match the headline figures. National development needs to translate down.
And just a couple more specific incidents. Enugu Air deplaning a passenger, sparking online debate about conduct, shows the power of social media now.
Everyone's a commentator.
And then Nigerian embassies apparently struggling with unpaid rent and salaries, a more practical operational challenge. What do these smaller things tell us?
Even seemingly small things contribute to the overall picture. Yeah. Passenger conduct touches on, public norms. Embassy issues reflect logistical or financial hurdles that affect Nigeria's image and function abroad. They show the sheer complexity of managing a large nation day to day, both internally and externally. Everything adds up.
So, wrapping all this up, what does it all mean for you listening in? We've gone through quite a journey today, haven't we? Global ties, economic strides, but also these really tough security challenges, the political jostling, and glimpses into daily realities.
Yeah, and I think the key takeaway is just how interconnected everything is. You really can't understand Nigeria by looking at just one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
The international stuff affects the internal, the economy affects security, politics touches everything, and individual lives are shaped by all of it. It's always complex, always layered.
Absolutely. It demands that layered perspective. So as you continue exploring these topics yourself, maybe mull over this quote. It's from Vern Law. Experience is a hard teacher because she gives the test first, the lesson afterward. Something to reflect on as you process everything we've discussed. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. Until next time, keep exploring.